All right, what's going on, everyone? So awesome that everybody could join me again. Nice little Tuesday night. I've got a few people I see in the little backstage area. So yeah, tonight's going to be kind of just a fun kind of hangout night. And I figured, we all get these questions all the time as to, what some of our favorite whiskeys, bourbons, doesn't matter what it is, but it can be a difficult one at times. So figured, what the hell, let's talk a little bit about that tonight, get some people in here and get kind of some of their perspective on things. So before I get the other guys and stuff in here, let me take a peek here. He had a lot of pre-gamers and stuff in tonight. So Big Vic, how's it going? Coop 57M, Roy R, how's it going? Hendo, Johnny T, Aiden, how's it going? Griff Howie, Steve Dameron. Who else we got here? I think I said RBA whiskey. So, all right, that's just a few of you guys right now. I'll catch back up in a little bit. So yeah, tonight's gonna be kind of a fun night. So I'll bring some of the guys in here in a minute and just kind of shoot the shit a little bit, get everybody's perspective on, really what it is people have been enjoying, what you think, kind of some of your favorite whiskeys and all of that stuff have been so far in 2021. So it'll be really interesting to see what people kind of have going on. So let me see here. Before I get the other guys and stuff in here, what should I start out with? I'll do, so this is the Mash and Journey. This is the pick that Jason and I did for the Russell single barrel. And yeah, we think it came out pretty darn nice. So and as you can see, they've got the little giveaway and stuff going tonight. So any super chat basically can get you an entry into getting the Russells and the Foregate, the toasted barrel rye. So yeah, so no, not the Discovery 5. So but anyway, so all right, without further ado, let me bring in some of the other guys here and we'll get rolling. So how's it going, gentlemen?
Good. How are you?
Not bad. Thanks for jumping in. I know I sent you like 500 different emails about where it's on, it's off, it's on. So it was as soon as the other guy wasn't able to get on, I figured let's do this stuff next week where we can really kind of get down and dirty and talk about your channel and all of that. But I figured tonight we can we can chat a little bit about, what some of your favorite whiskeys have been so far in 2021, and maybe even go as far as some ones that have been kind of disappointing. So we'll do that if you guys are good with that.
Yeah.
All right, let me bring in.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you guys could jump on. I know originally, for everybody watching in the chat right now, we were originally going to do, the guys from, here, Straight Up Bourbon and the Bourbon judge, but he wasn't able to make tonight work ultimately. So we're going to do it next week where we get the guys on and just kind of talk a little bit about their channels and the hows and whys and all of that, and just kind of have a good time. So all right, let me bring in Andy here, and I'll post the link here in a little bit. I'll try to keep it to around maybe 4 or so at a time, because it just the pictures get so small that you can't even see anybody at some point. So I'll try to keep it at around 4 or so in here at one time. But all right. Hey, Andy, how's it going? There you go. Get that mute button working.
Yeah, it's going well.
Good. Thanks for jumping in tonight. It looks like you got a few things behind you that you can talk about a little bit.
Sure. I have a small collection here.
Yeah, I see that. So, well, thanks for jumping in. Let me post. We'll have room right now. If anybody else wants to jump in, I'll post it right now, and then the next person can jump in if they want. But so let me ask you guys. So you probably hear it all the time. Hey, what are your favorite whiskeys? What do you like? What do you not like? So far in 21, what's kind of stood out to you? If maybe a handful or a couple that have been good and bad for you guys.
There's been quite a few that are fairly decent, that are harder to get. Like the 117 is fantastic, but I would actually have to say the FAE 01, that Makers, I see that all over the place, and I think that's a fantastic pour. I think Makers really hit it. They got it out of the ballpark with that one. So Yeah, $65. Like I said, it's easy to find. It tastes great. I couldn't go wrong with that.
Well, it seems like it's been one of those bourbons that, for people who can get it, like our area, it came and went really quickly, and there was just, it was gone so fast. Same thing with kind of the Maker's 46 cask strength. But yeah, I think this is kind of where Maker's is kind of starting to, kind of find a real niche for them, is really hitting these kind of almost LEs, but to not have it so limited that a lot of people can't get their hands on. So it's nice that, think about it. If they made half of those bottles and they wanted to charge you $150, they in all reality probably could, but
right.
But they don't. So that's kind of nice that they're kind of giving the, us as the general public the LEs, and they've all been really, really pretty damn good so far. So that's kind of nice to see. So Andy, what about you?
Well, I have to say the one that really caught me, maybe not by surprise, but this is my second bottle, is the Colonel Taylor single barrel. I think for the money, I think I paid here in Oregon like $70 for this. And I have 3 bottles that I bought, and it's delicious.
Yeah, I wish it was a little easier to find than it is nowadays. That's for sure. But
yeah, in Oregon it's regulated, the whiskey, but when they do have it, you could actually search online what stores have it versus California, where you can get it.
Oh, that makes it very nice.
Yeah, that makes it really nice to be able to do that.
I also been drinking some Bull Run, which is out of Portland. And so they have a 13-year-old barrel strength that's excellent. And they have a rye that I haven't really released beyond online, but when it comes out, I recommend it. It's a very inexpensive rye, about $40. And I'm looking forward to the cask strength, but it's been drinking really well for a rye.
Did you say Bull Run before?
Yes.
So are they still doing all their sourcing? Are they still sourcing MGP or?
No. This is distilled in house. Their rye.
Oh, okay, they got their own stuff now. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, it's a 4-year-old rye.
All right. That's getting into the ages where ryes really start to have a really nice profile on them too. So.
But of course, anything from Old Carter or Fourgate is always delicious, but it's also very pricey for everyday drinking.
Well, that's always the argument, when everybody does, kind of at the end of the year, their kind of top 10 lists, or people ask you, what some of your favorite things are. You don't always want to put a list together of every single, highly allocated bourbon, because it kind of gets to be, probably a little frustrating, and frankly, it's annoying. Like when you see someone's list of things that nobody ever can have an opportunity to get, that's where where it gets to be, completely difficult or impossible to get some of these things. So, usually for mine, you'll incorporate a few of those things, of course, because hey, at the end of the day, a lot of those whiskeys that we all chase or that we really, want, they are a lot of times the really good ones, to us anyway. So it's impossible to not get those things, really on that list. But at the same time, if you can get, 2 or 3 different, maybe kind of everyday-ish, whiskeys in there, it's kind of nice to incorporate those, because as we all know, there's some really fantastic whiskeys out there that you can go into any store and pick up anytime you want, Yeah. So,
right.
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be every day, or it doesn't have to be highly allocated stuff all the time.
This is what I was drinking last night. I had, Rare Breed, Old Forester 1920, and some Smoke Wagon on my bar over here. So again, I think, these are great everyday drinkers.
Yeah, and for most people, that's stuff that you can, generally speaking, go in and find. I know there's been some issues with the Rare Breed stuff in terms of it being maybe not quite as available places, but I've not had any issues in my area with that at all. So,
I think it's a quick turnaround too. If they're out, you can walk back in next week, and odds are they're going to have it back.
Yeah, at least in our area.
Right.
Yeah,
and that works for the rye too.
Yeah, see the rye for us, and that seems to maybe be a little bit different, and I hope that changes some, but that seems to be a little bit more difficult. Maybe I don't know if it's more allocated or what the deal is with that. I would imagine it probably is because they're not making nearly as much of that as they are the bourbon, but I wish that would be something that would just be kind of more readily available. It's a delicious rye whiskey, that's for sure. So.
I would add the barrel strength bullet to that list too. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, it gets some of those, bullets always seem to be one of those brands where, people either love it or hate it. And I think so many people, that's a good point. I'm glad you kind of brought that up because, so many people, when you hear bullet, you automatically default to like a mixer or something, so you don't think right away all the times as, how good some of those, either the picks can be, or just some of the single barrels that they've got, how good some of that stuff really can be. And they're doing some pretty good sourcing, and you're getting some pretty decent ages on those. So you get a pretty good bang for your buck in terms of what it is you're getting. So,
Yeah, none of them are ever overpriced, in my opinion. I think they're pretty spot on with their price points, with everything else they're up against.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're probably, I don't know.
You can even find bullets at Walmart.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like my area, you can see those things for like, I don't know, maybe $50 or something like that, 45, $50. That sound about right?
Yeah.
All right, what's Coop say? Yeah, my favorite rye, the Wild Turkey Rare Breed rye. It's such a really nice rye. Well, just beat out the Woodinville. So the Woodinville, they've got some fantastic stuff too. Their cask strength, which again is right now, I think is only it's only distillery only, but boy, I'll tell you what, Woodinville has 100% cask strength rye, and it's absolutely fantastic. And it's usually 100% rye can be a tough thing to work with, but there's this. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about the 100% rye, but even when you add a little bit of whether it's corn or malted barley or something on a rye, it just changes so much more. That 100% rye can really be. I've not had many, to be honest, that have been very good. I would say the only one that I've had, recently-ish has been the Woodinville, and that Woodinville it has got some fantastic flavor. Again, now it's cask strength, so that helps a lot right there as well. But it's an incredible rye. So, but let's see what else somebody says here. I guess while we're talking, I guess we can do a little bit of this next week too. But you guys want to talk a little bit about your channel and all of that, or?
Yeah, we can. Or Andy, if you got a channel, you can go first. Feel free.
No, I don't have no channel. I'm just
just in it for the fun, huh?
Yeah,
just like whiskey. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's fine too. There's nothing wrong. Sometimes it's nice to just be able to kick back and not have to worry about doing a lot of these things. It can be DC. Here you go. So I'm not really sure anybody's going to buy into this or not, but not sure about that or not, DC. But you know what? I'll say this: when I first had it, was going back, I think a few years, maybe three years ago. I had it at a whiskey event, and I saw it. I'm like, holy shit! This is either going to be a complete disaster, or maybe the other way. And I tried it, and I didn't hate it. I mean, there was something about it. I didn't hate it like I thought it was going to. Like, this is going to be absolutely disgusting. And then when I tried it, it was like I kept waiting, and I wanted to be like, man, this is horrible. But it just never came. I can see a place for it. I mean, if you sip that stuff, I mean, you're probably a psychopath and don't belong, being in the general public. But it's, I guess, to each their own, I suppose. So.
I think it's better than regular Tabasco.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, That's the alternative. So, all right, yeah. And Big Vic, I'm absolutely loving what it is that Wilderness Trail is doing with their rise. Like Jason and I, we were down there a month and a half ago, and whatever it is that they're doing in that rick house, and it's kind of a smaller one. They've got magic barrels in there. I don't know what it is, but some of that stuff is absolutely fantastic, and it's way off profile. It's a little bit different, not in a bad way, but it's not like we all think of as a lot of rye where it can be either heavy like mint, dill, or like maybe like lemon. These are all drinking a little bit still with a little bit of that component, but much more complex, which was nice. So thanks, Big Vic.
Right.
Let's see here. Let's do this. All right. So why don't you guys talk a little bit about, we know Andy just likes drinking. So yeah, if you guys want to talk
trail all across, I mean, they're figuring it out for craft. It's fantastic.
Wilderness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, they're almost to the point now where I don't even know if you can honestly even call those guys craft whiskey as much as they're pumping out now. I mean, they're starting to move into the category of pumping out just as much as, honestly, some of the, maybe not the big guys, but they're not far behind. So they're really doing some. I mean, hell, they're already to the point where they're contract distilling. I mean, they've got stuff that they're doing for other people already. So that's, I mean, that's pretty significant there. So.
Yeah, I think they officially moved off the craft tour about a year ago, and they're on like the official Bourbon Trail like passport thing now. So yeah. They're making a lot of stuff. I know they have to build rick houses to keep up with their production. So
there's so many of these guys. There's so many of these guys now. They just can't even keep up. They can't make the stuff fast enough. And they definitely can't build these, these rick houses fast enough to house all their stuff. So, but what we got here? All right. So RVA whiskey. Thanks, buddy. I greatly appreciate that. So it says rye is a good place for craft distilleries to start. Yeah, rye can be one of those things. It can be kind of a nice area to start. Takes less age to get great product out. Loving local here and craft right now. So it is. I mean, I think now with the boom that kind of happened a few years ago, the nice part is we're going to start seeing some of these whiskeys that either you made it or you're not. If your stuff sucks now, like you're in trouble, So
yeah.
This is kind of the breaking point, I think, for some of these guys before they go out of business or whatever it may be, unfortunately. But, if they got in on the game, 4, 5, 6 years ago, and now their stuff's starting to come to age, and you hope for their sake that it's all good stuff. But I mean, I think we all know that. So,
right.
But yeah, I love Wilderness. It's one of those distilleries. I don't know why. As much as I love it, it always kind of sits just in the back of my mind, not ready to talk about it enough. Like maybe you guys can agree and you can talk about it a little bit too. But it's just one of those distilleries that I don't know what it is. As good as they are and as many good products as they have, it's one of those things where nobody chases after anything. Not that you really have to, but nobody really just brings them up, and it's kind of unfortunate because they're doing some amazing things. So
yeah,
it's funny that you say that too, because I was in the liquor store the other day and I wanted to pick some up, and it wasn't on the regular shelf. It was like on a little island shelf thing, and I had to ask for it, and it was like behind me the whole time.
Where they keep like all the booze.
Yeah. So it seems like even the liquor stores are kind of putting it off by itself. So I guess everybody kind of
has they don't know what they have either. It's just like somebody pitched it to them, and they're like, "Okay, we'll buy some."
Yeah.
And not all liquor stores, at least around us, have them anyway. Some will have like 1 or 2, but.
What state are you guys in?
Indiana, southern Indiana. So
we're 15 minutes from Kentucky. So.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, Tim, I think a lot of us enjoy the barrel strength rye from Michter's. Unfortunately, it's one of those ones. Again, this is that, I think for Michter's, I mean, in terms of what they do, that's probably, for me, it's their best that they do. Outside of their like crazy stuff that nobody else will ever get. But, some of their even on the shelf stuff is a little bit underrated. I mean, I know nobody not many people reach for it because it's lower proof, and I think that's probably one of the issues. But outside of that, I mean, I think it drinks much better than like a super low proof, whiskey does. So.
Yeah. Have you tried the toasted rye from them?
Boy, did I have that? Oh yeah, I mean, I've had them a couple of times, and now the ones I've had are probably going back. Boy, I bet it's been, man, maybe 18 or something I had. So I mean, the last couple I haven't really had any of the newer stuff, and the ones I had were nice. It's in rye for me, like maybe you guys as well, but toasted barrels on rye is like absolutely ridiculous. It really does well on rye, I think, more so than
absolutely.
But
yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah, I think we have the 19, and it's fantastic.
Oh, it's incredible.
Yeah.
But again, it's one of those that you're lucky to stumble upon.
Well, I mean, I think the thing is, plus it's one of those deals where like the toasted barrel rye, especially barrel strength or whatever, when those things get a little bit of airtime, they really shine after some time, just kind of being opened up a little bit. I think my opinion a lot of times is people kind of rush to make a kind of a decision like right away on toasted barrel stuff. And I think most of the time, if you just pump the brakes a little bit, and it was kind of the same thing, I think, when Elijah Craig released that regular toasted barrel Elijah Craig, and people were kind of tasting it right away, like, we don't like it. And you just kind of want to say, man, just pump the brakes a little bit on it, and hopefully that thing will open up a little bit for you. And I think for a lot of people, it kind of did that. So, but
and it's hard to
I totally agree with that.
You can't find the toasted barrel now, Elijah Craig.
I wonder if that's going to be something. I wonder if that'll be something eventually that they'll just start to do. I mean, frankly, Elijah Craig could do any of that stuff as probably standard releases if they really wanted to. So. But I mean, I suppose the issue for them is, now you're talking about a 94 proof bourbon that you now have to empty into more than likely, new toasted barrels. So you got all of this expense. But at the same time, that price on a toasted barrel bourbon is probably double or a little bit more than double just the standard price of a regular bottle of Elijah Craig. So it's not like they're not making money on a $50 or $55 bottle of toasted barrel, 94 proof.
Right.
All right, what's Cam say? Exactly, you can only use we'll just wait until our bourbon ages a few more years. Yeah, I mean, it's gotten to that point now. I mean, there's a lot of that stuff. I mean, now it's kind of put up or shut up. You're kind of done doing your thing. Let's see how your stuff is at this point. So, yeah. So I think a lot
of them were a bit smart about it. Like Castle and Key, they do like gins and vodkas while they let their stuff age. So they do have a fallback plan as opposed to, having like MGP or Bardstown make it for you while you wait for your stuff. Because then if yours sucks, either go back to to them or done.
There's a lot to be said about being able to try somebody else's product and tell them yes or no, we don't want it, or yes we do. You don't have the expense of having to spend thousands and thousands of dollars making your own whiskey, and then when it tastes like shit, after a short period of time, you're in big trouble. I mean, you can only hide that stuff so long, and usually they dump it in some kind of finished whiskey or finished barrel, and now you got you basically got a finished turd, and it's kind of bad. But anyway. Yeah, so I mean, more of these wilderness trail. I mean, it is, and maybe I'm missing the boat. Maybe there are more people that talk about it than I think. I just don't ever hear a lot of people. It just flies under the radar, as good as their stuff is. But
yeah, I totally agree.
So, all right. So we were talking a little bit before about your guys' channel. We'll talk a little bit more about it next week as well. But you want to kind of just tell a few of the people right now a little bit about your channel, kind of what you guys do, and maybe how you kind of started out with what you're doing now.
I mean, it was basically just a COVID thing. We were sitting around drinking, expanding our collections and stuff. And Luke's like, well, you want to just start a YouTube channel and let people know what we think, put our views out there. So that's what we did.
Yeah, I mean, we were just sitting around drinking anyway, and it's like we might as well try to be a little bit productive with it or make a project out of it or something.
But it's nice. I really like where it's going, helping people, because we'll have people just message us on Instagram or Facebook, or people we know will just call us out of nowhere and say, hey, what do you think about this? Or is this a decent price for this? And it just feels good knowing we're doing something with it now instead of just sitting around drinking just to be drinking. But yeah, that's also nice.
Yeah, I mean, hey, at the end of the day, it's a fun outlet, and it gives you a little something to kind of do and be creative with things. I mean, it's at the end of the day, that's the thing. As long as you're having fun, and that's the main thing. So, well, it looks like you've got your like little set and stuff. So I mean, you got all of that done during COVID, probably too. Then, hey.
Yep.
Yeah,
and meeting new people, talking to new people, that's always fun, especially people that are into the same, they're into the whiskey world like we are. So
it kind of gets to be, probably a little frustrating.
Yeah, it turned out to be a really cool community that I didn't know existed until we started the channel. So
yeah, I mean, it does. I mean,
and
for
just
me,
thanks again for.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say thanks again for having us on. Like, was totally surprised, but we really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, it's just kind of one of those things where, I mean, you kind of know what it's like when you start out, and you just, I mean, even when I started out, there was nothing. There was no live streaming. Nobody did any of this. So, my thing all along was, for anybody who's getting into it, or someone who may not know a little bit about, this, may not know a little bit about this whiskey channel or whatever it may be, then get people exposed to other things. I mean, that's the fun part of all of this stuff. So if you can share your channel and someone didn't know about it before, and they find what it is you guys do fun and interesting, great. That's the goal. Have fun with it, and the community. I mean, look at the guys that are in here right now. Like, I'm not really sure who this Roy R guy is. I've never really seen him around much, but I'm just kidding. But but look, I mean, it's good. I mean, I probably tonight I wouldn't have talked to Toolman Mike tonight. Honestly, I probably wouldn't have talked to him, on the phone. He probably wasn't going to text me tonight or anything. But it's just one of those deals where you can have fun with it, and this is part of how the community is, and you build up these relationships as much as it's you may not see some people, in person, but at the end of the day, honestly, it doesn't even matter hardly anymore. You can still have so much fun and just kind of, chew the fat with people and kind of have a good time with everything. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, gentlemen, how's everybody else doing? Roy, Toolman, how's it going?
Very good tonight. How you doing?
Not bad. So let me ask you this: what have been some of your favorite whiskeys that you've had so far in 21 so far?
There's a couple. Well, here's
the new one. That's a little nice way to ask. That's a little bit.
You knocked it out of the park with that one. It's incredible. I have two. If it wasn't for YouTubers, I wouldn't have bought one. That's the Boone County.
Oh yeah.
Simple. The small batch, I didn't even get this one find. Easy sipper. One place has it, you have to them, nobody buys it. It's great. But if I pick my favorite of the year, since we picked the Maker's Mark FEAE01, I'll go with this. The Barrel Seagrass.
It's really good. It really is good.
That's what I was drinking earlier.
It's a mighty tasty beverage.
It really is. And that was another one where I was a little reluctant to go to it after that other kind of goofy, whatever that one was that they did before, which I couldn't stand it. It was like, for me, it was horrible. It was just not my thing. But I'm like, oh shit, what are they up to now? What is seagrass exactly? But when I tried it, the first time I tried it was blind. and it was weird to me. Like, I'm like, what is this? This is not like anything I've ever had before. But I was like, man, I really like it. And yeah, it was, I was happier than hell. So
yeah, that's a must-have bottle, I think.
Mm-hmm.
and you can find their stuff.
To me, it almost tastes like a proofed up pre-made old fashioned, like those bottles that you can get. Like it kind of has that sweet, like richness to it. But
Yeah,
it's good. I like it.
Yeah,
I just opened it before the stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, I
I
bought the
can.
Dovetail
see
first.
that.
And
Yeah.
you actually say you didn't like the Aramita? That's what
Yeah,
it
that was the one. That was
Yeah,
not my thing.
So I
It was
never bought it. I bought the Dovetail, and then I just got the Seagrass, and it's.
Yeah, the dovetail. I love the dovetail. I mean, I thought that was different and unique, and I really liked the profile. Then that Armida or whatever it was just not my thing. But but yeah, the Seagrass. So I was pleasantly surprised with that. So all right, I'll go with one of mine. So I guess this for me is like ranking way up there. I mean, this Discovery 4 for me with Bardstown. I mean, what they've got in this thing. I mean, these are all like really nice aged. I mean, what is this thing? I mean, 92% of this blend is 13 and 15-year-old Kentucky bourbon. I mean, that stuff in between that and MGP, these old things are going away, so there's not much of this stuff. Hence, probably why Bardstown, when they released Discovery 5 here not long ago, now they've got aged, Dickel in there. So you can see the transitioning happen here a little bit. So, but I love the complexity and the balance.
Personally, I like the 5 a little more than the 4, but I am glad to see that they're starting to get a lot more of their distillate in there
in the fusion.
Yeah, and in the fusions.
Yeah. So you like 4,
but their Discovery lineup.
You like 5 better than 4?
I did.
Yeah, we both did.
Okay. All right,
We haven't blinded it yet, but it tasted a little richer to us. But I know that's kind of not a super popular opinion.
Well,
it's a very unpopular opinion right now, actually.
Whatever. Yeah. I mean, hey, it's your opinion. I mean, that it is what it is. But I mean, that's always the interesting part of hearing what people have to say about certain things and why they like things and why they don't. That was kind of one of the reasons I decided, well, let's talk a little bit about what people are liking and why and all of that. And like I've said to a bunch of other people, I mean, you're never wrong. I mean, it is what it is. We all know this is subjective, but at the end of the day, it's always it's interesting to hear people's perspective on what it is they like and why. So
it's all a matter of your taste.
Yeah. I mean, everything we talk about.
Yeah, I wasn't
sure what year that came out. I bought it in 2021, but last year that's why I didn't even pick it.
What, Discovery 4?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. This came out. Geez, this wasn't really. I mean, that long ago. I mean, you're probably talking. I don't know. I mean, maybe. Yeah, I mean, maybe 6 months ago. I don't know, something like that. I mean, it seems like they've gone pretty quick with 4 and 5. It's really close. So.
Yeah, there was a quick turnaround.
Yeah, but I
was actually when we were drinking 5, I was actually from memory. I thought I liked 4 better, and I had him pull it down and just tried it. And I mean, I was surprised that I liked 5 better than 4 because I liked 4 a lot, but for some reason it was just a little bit more full-bodied to me, and I think you felt the same way.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I wonder if, I mean, in all honesty, I mean, with that 17-year Dickel that they've got in there, I mean, at the end of the day, it's hard to eliminate some complexity from an old whiskey like that. It's gonna offer that no matter what the whiskey is. I mean, that there's a reason why people get certain profiles from older whiskey is because of what it is that it's doing. So, maybe you guys just like the Dickel,
We traditionally don't. That's why I was really thrown off.
Other than the Tabasco, of course,
Yeah.
I had a girlfriend like that once. She liked a little Dickel.
Just a little, though, right?
Just a little, yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's good.
You know, Scott, you were talking about COVID and all that kind of stuff. It kind of set everybody back. And there we go. You guys up there started a video channel and all that, which I think is great. I have nothing but a lot of good fun with all you guys on videos and stuff, YouTube videos. I started my hobby. I'll try to make this story short. I started with Black Velvet and 7, like a lot of people do. And a friend invited me to a local whiskey tasting group. And that was really interesting because it really opened my eyes to different stuff. We got a chance to drink some $150 bottles of stuff that I would never go to the store and pull off the shelf just to try, you know. Mm-hmm. And then COVID came along, and thank God a good friend of mine just lives down the street a couple blocks, and we would get together and taste each other's whiskeys, which we had just very few on our shelves. Well, and then you start going shopping together, and he'd buy something that I wouldn't, and then we'd get together after we'd come home and taste. We'd taste what he'd buy and what I'd buy. Mm-hmm. And now that I'm up to, and I'm going to pat myself on the back, but I'm up to about 75 bottles now, which is huge for me. But we're just having a great time of it. And boy, I tell you what, anybody out there that's listening and stuff, if you can get together with a friend, get together with a group of guys and put together a whiskey tasting group. We charge dues, either like $15 a night or $100 a year, which is really cheap if you go out and buy a shot of $30 whiskey that's $150 bottle that you want to try. And we do scotches and we do some tequilas, but mostly it's all bourbons and stuff like that. But we have a really, really good time. We've got 35 or 40 in our group now, I think. And it's really been good. It really has been good. So
yeah, those are
awesome.
Those are fun. I mean, that's the best way, honestly, to try a lot of different whiskeys. I mean, a lot of guys try to make a conscious effort to bring maybe something a little bit different that other guys are. Maybe you got a mixed bottle here or there, but I mean, outside of that, you've got, probably 95% different bottles and things that maybe you hadn't tried. So, I mean, those are the best ways. And like we were all talking about before, it's the best part of like this community when you get a bunch of guys or women or whatever it is together and you can just kind of shoot the shit and have a good time and talk about things that that you're all interested in. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah. I feel good about listening to your tastings and stuff like that to find out whether I want to go out and spend $40, $50 for that particular bottle to put in my collection.
Checks in the mail.
Yeah.
Your palate is closest to mine.
Well, you guys brought up a good point. So there's the thing, because we all probably, like, we've all gotten nasty comments about how wrong we are, or whatever it may be, or whatever. But like you guys said, like, that's the thing, is find a channel. Like if what I taste and smell and all that doesn't match up with what it is you get a couple times, that just move on, go find someone where it does match up. And that's the best part of all this. It is all completely subjective, and you try to find people where you're describing certain things that work for other people. And that's the best part of it. And you kind of build on that community. And, fortunately, we're like Jason and I, we've got similar palates. So it helps when we're out doing barrel picks. I mean, if one of us liked Dickel and the other one didn't, that'd be a bad, it's, so yeah, but I get it. Like that's the fun part of all of that. So
exactly.
Man, I don't know, man, this Discovery 4, I've got to get, I asked Jason today if 5 was worth $130, and he's like, I don't know, but I'm like, really, I'm really like, I like a lot of, here, and like, you guys know this, a lot of times now we've all had at times, like maybe on a small scale, like a really bad or shitty whiskey. Okay. But at the end of the day, I think too many people get different confused with shitty. So like there's a difference. Like I can give you shitty whiskey and you'll be like, yeah, that really sucks. That's not good. But I can give you something that maybe doesn't have a bunch of age that is still okay, but it's just different. Maybe not shitty, but it's different. And that was, for me, when I first started my channel, that was what I kind of hung my hat on, was the fact that I got like kind of hooked up with a lot of craft distilleries like right out of the gate, because they didn't know shit about anything. I didn't know shit about anything. I'm like, this is a match made in heaven. You got, someone that doesn't know anything about anything doing a review of something. So it was fun. It really allowed me to kind of develop my palate, I think, for appreciating a lot of different things. So I'm glad I went down that road. But one thing I realized was just because it's young doesn't mean it's bad, so.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And just because it's old doesn't mean it's great. And when we do the crafts, I like to go in and just not try and compare it to like a Brown Forman or Sazerac product, because it's not going to be up there. It has to live in its own world. It's got to be its own world. And without all these craft distilleries popping up, I mean, we would just be stuck with the allocated unicorns and wouldn't have anything in our collections right now. So I think that it's great what they're doing.
The craft distilleries nowadays, it is so tough for them to get started. They can produce vodka, they can infuse juniper to make gin, but it's going to take them 4 years to make a bourbon, plain and simple, fellas. You put it even in a smaller barrel, and you can't call it bourbon until it's been in the barrel for 4 years. Thank God for MGP, because they come up with some pretty darn good products that a lot of the distilleries are either blending or buying or whatever, and coming up with a good product, and they can put their name on it, and then later on down the road, then they can produce their own stuff and age it, and it comes out good. So I
mean, like the Boone County that I mentioned earlier, that's MGP, and it's excellent.
Excellent.
My wife loves it. I love it. It's just I don't know if it's a good one place has it. If they don't have it, I don't know if I can get it. I can call it my thing. But as long as they have it, I'm drinking it.
Yeah, it's the best. I mean, it's the best part of it.
Where are you located?
Northeast Florida. Teach.
Okay.
Teach.
Yeah.
We've got.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know how available it'd be there.
Just about an hour's drive south of here is Cedar Ridge, down in Swisher, Iowa, and they're starting to do some really, really nice things. The product that they're producing, and with Iowa corn and everything else that they do, is starting to age proper. They're doing a really nice job with a lot of their stuff, and they're starting to come around. No, they're not as big as Buffalo Trace. They probably never will be, but those little craft distilleries and stuff are really a lot of fun. Ted, my friend down the street, and I went over to Galena, over to Blom Brothers, and they've got some fun products as well, and and they've got some unique products like their pepper vodka and stuff like that. It's really, really lots of fun. So I'm really all about these craft distilleries and trying their products. Not only you're buying a bottle of what they have to offer, which kind of helps put them on the map. I won't say the big guys don't need any help, but they really have thousands of bottles every day go out the door. And these craft distilleries, the guys are trying to make a living and feed their family, for crying out loud. So if these craft distilleries, if they can put a really quality product together, I'm all for that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I would agree. I mean, I think what Cedar Ridge is doing, I had Murphy Quint on maybe 6 or 8 months ago, and just talking to him about the things that he's doing there, and I really liked that American single malt that he did, that quintessential.
Nice.
I really liked it. I told him, I'm like, I would really love it if I could get that at cask strength. I think it would have been absolutely fantastic. It's all Solera aged. And I just love the profile of it. And I wanted just a little more proof on it. But outside of that, it was really good. And I still think their bourbons that they've got now that they're doing are absolutely fantastic as well. So
yeah. Their weeder is really good.
Yeah.
It's fun to go to the distillery. It's a nice place. They've got some great wines as well. They have good food. It's just a fun little place, and thank God it's only an hour away. So,
yeah, it's about 3 hours south for me, and for me to get to Blom is probably about 2 hours or so. But yeah, not too far. It's not so far you can't just get in the car and decide you're going to go one day. That's for sure. So
sure.
Okay, Sugar Kitty says one of my best bottles this year is a locally bottling of 8-year barrel strength MGP rye. If they're selling it off, it's that good. So all right, so I'd be interested in Sugar Kitty. What is it? So what's the distillery? I mean you don't have to say if you don't want, but it's interesting, especially with ryes, like some of these ryes that people have bought that have some age and stuff to them. I mean, some of these older ryes that MGP has they're fantastic rye whiskeys. I mean, they're some of the best stuff that's out there right now, to be honest. And man,
MGP's got a very popular rye mash bill.
Their 95.5 is that's just tops.
Yeah, I mean it's tried and true, and you know what you're going to get from that thing, So, all right, which one am I thinking of?
If we're talking about
which one is this? Which one is he referring to right now? Anybody know?
Nada.
I was just trying to think of which one that we were talking about. The cask strength one. I don't know. Maybe all right, RVA, let me know which one you're talking about. I don't know if he's talking about the quintessential or something. Do they have a cask strength one that I missed or something? But
no, I don't know.
Okay, so Sugar Kitty before said it's just a bottler, but it's called Staves and Grain from New Jersey. Huh. Well, there's a lot of these.
Heard of that.
A lot of these like little independent bottlers. But well, I thought like New Jersey.
If we're talking about craft. No, my bad. I said if we're talking about craft stuff, though, Starlight's not so much of a hidden gem anymore, but it's about 40 minutes away from us, and they're doing really great stuff.
Yeah. They've been in the wine business for generations now, but yeah, they're getting into the whiskey business, and they're doing pretty good things with it. So.
Our Iowa Whiskey Tasting Group on Facebook has done quite a few picks here lately from Starlight, and it's darn good stuff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they did. I think they were it seemed like going back maybe, I don't know, maybe a year or two ago, whenever it was, maybe not even that long. But all right, so Cedar Ridge is what he was talking about. So it must have been some cask strength. I don't know if it's the quintessential, but if they've got that at cask strength, that'd be fantastic. I'll have to look and see. But
and I think you can do barrel picks.
Yeah, I talked to Murphy about doing some of that stuff, and that was one of the things that Jason and I were talking about, trying to get some of these different, unique, kind of fun things. And we ended up going with another. We haven't done it yet, but I can't let the cat out of the bag yet as to who it's going to be with. But it's going to be a really, I'll say this, it's going to be a really fun one. So fortunately, Jason had a little bit of a relationship with somebody, so it worked out where we kind of got a foot in the door, and it was perfect. So.
If you do get hooked up with Cedar Ridge on a barrel pick or something like that, let me know. I'd love to meet you guys down there.
Definitely. Yeah. We had talked about that. I think it would be fun to do, and that's one of the things. I mean, we'll try some of these different places and just kind of have a good time with it. And I mean, at the end of the day, you can probably always find something that's going to be a really good, whiskey. Period. You can find something. So. What do we got here? All right. So Ironfish. No, I haven't. I've seen some of the bottlings and stuff, Matt, but I haven't tried any of their stuff. What do we got here?
Hey, Scott.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about doing a tasting of old whiskeys?
You mean like? Are you talking like
old
Dustin?
Tub, old Overholt, old Granddad, old Pepper, old Elk, old Forester, very old Barton.
Yeah,
I'm old, so I like, and a lot of these are screw tops, and they don't cost much, and they're really a lot of fun. A lot of times you let them sit in the glass and you twirl them and swirl them and let them open up a little bit, and they're really some pretty good stuff for the price.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Yeah, no, I've not given it any thought, but yeah, doing the old blind would be kind of a cool little thing. Yeah, there's no shortage of people wanting to put old on their bottle, is there?
And you could grab a cane you could dress up with, yeah. It could be fun.
That's interesting. All right, what's Adam say? Speaking of craft, yeah, Whiskey Acres. I got stuff from them. Boy, this is going back probably a couple years ago, but they were starting to do some really cool things, and then I hadn't heard much about, but I've started seeing more of their stuff kind of pop up recently. So I'll be interested to see maybe how some of their stuff is beginning to kind of develop as well. Yeah, DeKalb's not that far from me really at all. So, all right, let's see what else we got. Yeah, Starlight kind of they came out of the gate like firing. I mean, people were all over them with their picks. Starlight is, and maybe that was one of the things we kind of backed off a little bit, because Starlight, it was like everywhere. It was like everybody's group had a Starlight pick. We're like, holy shit, if we do another one of these, like the market was like so flooded with Starlight. We're like, let's just kind of pump the brakes. But yeah, there've been a lot of people who've been raving. And I think the cool thing about Starlight is they got so many different like finishings, those different barrels and everything. So.
Right. And I think, I could be completely wrong here. I'm just spitballing, but I think since they've been in the wine business so long, they've had that bourbon and stuff just sitting back there with nobody knowing about it, because they didn't need the money. They didn't need to project it until it was time. So they did it right. They did it well.
Yep. Well, Big Sexy right here, he released his video today. I've got mine recorded, but I haven't done it yet. And I think there's been a lot of people so far with the Kirkland, that Kirkland signature that they released from Costco.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, like, I know there's already been a couple of videos and stuff out there. I think kind of today what Matt said was kind of spot on. Okay, it's a maybe a $20 or sub $20 bottle from Barton. So, it might have a little bit of age, not going to be extra aged or anything like that, but a lot of their stuff that would lean me to like make me think that there's a little bit more age on this than some people may think, is the fact that they do so much sourcing that they've got a lot of older stuff that they still have things that they may consider young. And this could be in that, 6-ish year range. I didn't get a lot of youthful notes for me, but I thought it was pretty. I thought for $20, if you go at this and your approach is just like it's straight hot trash and all this and everything, at the end of the day, you probably need to take a step back and realize what it is. It's pretty much 1792 small batch kind of, but it's a hard bottle to beat at under $20 to just have an okay bourbon to just sip on. I got zero problems drinking that bourbon at all. I thought it was pretty solid. I would tell people $20 if you see it, buy it. I don't think people hate it.
That's a nice leader too, isn't it? Daily driver.
No, it's just it's pretty much their standard. It's their standard mash bill, and I think there's like 70.
I'm liter, like a liter size bottle, not.
Oh yeah, liter. Oh yeah. It's a liter. So yeah, you've already got a little larger bottle for under $20. You kind of know what it is you're going to be getting. it's kind of hard to beat that. That's a pretty damn good value bottle, I think, right there.
I found that with Rittenhouse. I like Rittenhouse a lot, and it's one of those things you let it sit for a little while, and you get all sorts of different flavors, and it finishes up nice and all that. It's a pretty big bargain for the price, I think.
Yeah, I like the Rittenhouse too.
It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of my go-to for definitely cocktails for sure. I love how
it makes a damn good old fashioned. Yeah.
One of our favorite bars. That's their house rye for old fashions.
Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of 1792.
What's that?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of 1792.
Well, okay, let me. All right, Roy, let me ask you this: what is it about 1792 that you think that you don't like?
That's a good question. It's funny because my wife doesn't like it either. Of all the stuff, and I have a lot of.
Well, this sounds like more like happy wife, happy life is what this sounds like right here.
I get her all the week.
Yeah, I don't like that 1792. Yeah, you're right, honey. I don't like that shit either.
I haven't had it in a while. As a matter of fact, I gave Cheech one of my bottles. It was the first whiskey I didn't like. The first bourbon I didn't like.
Huh. And that's fine. Yeah,
I went from Angels, then to Angels, and you work your way up to Michter's, and 1792 was the first one. We decided, let's stay away from it. I got a store pick. Let me try a store pick first, before I decide not to get it anymore, and it was just off-putting to us.
Yeah. See, Matt Dart thinks you're wrong. Matt thinks you're wrong.
I know, a lot of people love it. That's why I know I'm in the minority with it. But
yeah, and
it's very rare.
I had a driftless Glen barrel pick like that. And Jesus Christ, I couldn't. I tried everything. You swirl it and twirl it and let it breathe, and then you put a couple of drops of water in it, and that didn't do any good. And then you put an ice cube in it, and that didn't do any good. And then pretty soon you're starting to mix it with water, and you're mixing cocktails with it. I mixed it with everything. It was almost a drain pour. It really was. It was really nasty.
Well,
we have one of those on.
I absolutely love Old Forester. That's the quickest of Old Forester. I don't like 1792.
Man, Old Forester's hard to not. Yeah.
I got a whole bunch. I mean, where is it? Yeah, I got Statesman.
Let's see which Old Forester do I have.
Yeah, this is one.
The 100 proof.
Yeah, that was you mentioned that Statesman. That was always very underrated. We still see it here, and it never gets talked about. But I'll tell you what, it's a really nice bourbon, and I still think for what you're getting, and I forget the proof. I haven't seen it in a while. I actually haven't had it in a while, but from what I remembered, I'm like, boy, I really kind of dug this, and for I think $50 or $55, I thought it was a pretty decent value. So.
I did too, and that was actually, it wasn't one of the first in my collections, but I think that's one of the big ones that got me started, like actually collecting more, just because I liked the Kingsman movie it was based off of, and that's the only reason I bought it. But afterwards, I tried it, and I was like, this is fairly good, especially for the price. It's under $60, so we still see it all the time around here as well.
Yeah, it seemed to be like.
There we go. Nice logbook.
Nice
yeah,
what?
well, I was looking at ethanol and harsh for 1792. So that's what I put for it.
Yeah, well,
we just happened to see DC over in chat asked if you had to have a membership to buy alcohol from Costco, and I'm pretty sure it depends on the state.
It's a state-based thing, so I know at least in Indiana you don't. You just tell them you're there to buy alcohol, and you can go in and buy it. Same with Sam's Club.
Man, I live in Wisconsin. If people don't realize you're stopping in somewhere to get booze, then they think something's wrong with you. We get booze. I can get booze at where people watch like little babies and stuff, like little like a preschool place. I can get booze at one of those places in Wisconsin.
Whoa!
I'm just kidding. But Turkster, how's it going, buddy?
What's up, y'all? Just wanted
Not
to pop in for a second with this guy. I don't know if anybody else has gotten it yet.
Yeah, there's a few people who've got it. We're really happy with how that all turned out. I'll tell you that. So
You should be, man. This is an impressive bottle.
yeah, it really, and I think as that thing opens up on you a little bit, it'll start to really get. But like when we try to do like the descriptor of like, you know, sweet and spicy and like the citrus, and the finish was fantastic on it, was one of the things we really enjoyed about it. So
Scott, am I going to have to send you one of these?
the flavor wheel.
Yeah. I think you wrote that.
I don't think so. Yeah, that's the thing, man. You just try to like think of all these things, you know, and that's one of the things. I mean, a lot of us who taste these things, I mean, whether you have a YouTube channel or not, it doesn't matter. But you know, there's probably a couple handfuls of things that really resonate with everybody. So you can at times get the same descriptors, but like for me, where things change is just like the mouthfeel and like the overall like complexity of things, you know, stuff like that. But it's man, I don't know. You rack your brain, you like start to like think back to all the different things you have. And that's kind of for me, like how I go through my, you know, notes and stuff is just kind of based off of what I've had in the past, I guess. I don't know.
And that's the fun part of it all. You know, when you get toasted marshmallow, that's just way up here, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And like that was one of the things, like when we did the toasted barrel rye, like we got to taste the samples that were like already like aged a little bit and out of a barrel. So we got it like kind of in its glory a little bit. Now it wasn't as much age on it as it ended up being, but we could see where this thing was really going to go, and it developed like we were hoping that it was going to. So it really turned out fantastic. So I mean, it's been one of my favorite. I mean, not to, you know, whatever, but I mean, it's just one of those ryes that I absolutely, I think a lot of people who ended up getting one really enjoyed the thing. So
I wasn't worried about your the 4 gate. I figured it was pretty good, but this, let me tell you, you guys knocked it out of the park. I can't tell you how good it is.
The rye,
Russell is just.
Yeah, I mean, when we did it, you're like, we talked about like whether or not we should do it. I mean, we knew that it was going to be a little bit pricey, but you know, we wouldn't have done it. We wouldn't have done it if we didn't think it was going to be what we thought people would think it was going to be, or you know, what it ultimately ended up being. So we were happy that it was, and we told people, like, just when you crack the thing open, just try it, and then like just go back to it a little while later and just see how it really evolves on you. And most people have said, yeah, you were right. Like there was one person that sent something to me, and I forget who it was, but they were like, man, I don't think I could ever, like, you know, get another one of your picks. I'm like, ooh, shit, that's not good. So, and it was the 4 gate. I'm like, okay, so I'm like, let's just do this. If you don't like it, that's great. You know, I appreciate your honesty, but I said, just let the thing open up a little bit. And like a week later, I got a message. He's like, I was wrong. I apologize. I really do like it. I'm like, well, I
think you should do that with kind of everything too.
Yeah.
Don't hesitate.
Let it open. I mean, if you don't like it at first, then yeah.
We got the Old Forester single barrel cask strength rye, and even after we took the neck pour out, it would take about 10 minutes to open up in the glass.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the weirdest ones that we've had that can just change with air so much. But after that, it was good. It wasn't our favorite rye, but overall, it just changed so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can get liquor in churches for sure. Yeah, our state is we drink in Wisconsin. That's one thing we're good at. That's one thing. Well, I mean, everything. I mean, that's the thing around here. Everything revolves around tailgating. Every sporting event is. I mean, they tailgate for everything. I mean, they tailgate for a tailgate, for crying out loud. You know. So, Yeah, Jesus.
Gentlemen, I'm
That was
gonna.
Louisiana.
There we go. I'm gonna head out, and thanks for putting up with me for a few minutes, and it's been fun.
Anytime. Glad you could jump in. Appreciate it.
Yep. Take care.
We'll talk
Have a
next
good one.
time.
Have a good one. So I guess let me ask you guys this. So of all the things we've been talking about, you know, stuff we've liked or enjoyed, you know, are there things that you thought maybe you were going to enjoy and just kind of totally missed the boat?
Yeah. Did you hear about the Square 6 release from Evan Williams? They did like the distillery release. And they're supposed to go.
Yeah.
It was, we personally think it's awful. It was a $90 bottle, and it was one of the most disappointing things that we've drank this year for sure.
Really?
We've had $10 bottles that taste better than that. I mean, again, it's just an opinion thing, but
yeah,
they way overhyped it for what we got out of it. Was not impressed.
Well, wasn't it supposed to be like a 6-year? Oh yeah, you can't go wrong with that. Wasn't it supposed to be a 6-year? Wasn't that new thing from Evan Williams supposed to be like a 6-year something or other?
It's I think it ended up being a 5-year. The 6 is like Square 6 was like the original Evan Williams distillery address or something like that. But it's a 5-year. But it came from the micro still that they run in the Evan Williams experience in downtown Louisville. So it's kind of like it was supposed to be like kind of a craft thing. But I don't know. It tasted really like extra crafty, like young, watery, grainy.
Well, I mean, isn't that like where they do like 1 barrel a day or something like that?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, I mean, think about this. If you're distilling and you're doing 1 barrel a day, like how do you get away from it being grainy? Like, I don't know how you would get like, if you're like, I mean, I don't know if they're like mashing and doing all this stuff for 1 barrel a day or whatever it is they're doing. But I mean, you think if it's coming off the still, they got to put it in the barrel, like, and then do you do all that the next day again? I mean, I don't know.
When you do the tour, they explain it, and that's what it sounded like. They just fill up 1 barrel a day and then ship it off to the rick house and then let it sit. And I mean, I don't know.
I mean, I would think, like, I know that's a new concept even for them, but Evan Williams being around as long as they have and as big as they are, I would think they'd have something figured out. But this tastes like a craft distillery that just one day decided, hey, we're going to open up a distillery, and then that's like the first product they have out.
Yeah,
it was weird. I mean, even going into it, thinking of it as craft because it was such a small like production, it was still really disappointing for us.
The $90 price point doesn't help any either.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of like sometimes these places will get these like little cash grabs and then they're on to another thing, you know, which is kind of I would say from like Evan Williams or even with Heaven Hill, you know, being involved in that. It's kind of if it's truly shitty and it's just not worth. I mean, again, now here's the thing: worth $95. I mean, for you guys, you've already made it sound like it's definitely not worth $95, and I don't know what it would be worth to you. But I mean, at the end of the day, if that's not something you would even consider buying again, it's not worth anything.
Right.
So, but man,
personally, I would say, just to taste something coming off a still that small, I would pay maybe $20 for it one time, and just for the experience. But I would never buy another one after that. It'd just be more of like a kind of a novelty. But
well, and the kind of the bad part about that stuff is, you think about like that for $95, what it is they're doing, and maybe they're kind of preying on the fact that it is a little bit of a novelty type of thing. But at the end of the day, like if they're okay with kind of putting like really subpar whiskey in a bottle for $95, right. knowing like Roy put up a bottle before that's $50 or $55, and not long ago it wasn't even that much. It was $40, $35 or $40. Mm-hmm. And a 10-year single barrel that's got that kind of age and everything on it. I mean, for that price, but now you want to sell like 1 barrel a day that's blended and a bunch of other stuff for $95. Like, no thanks. I mean, that's just like, for me, that's the kind of shit with some of these companies that drives me crazy, and they prey on people. But I know what you guys wanted to do. You wanted to give it a try and see what it was like and all of that.
Exactly.
And I think that's what people do. If it's a distillery only release, you know that most of the people that are there are all from outside the state. So now they're like, oh, I'm going to buy this. And they get home and they're like, try it. They're like, oh man, this is like shitty, like 5-year-old whiskey. Why would I pay $95 for this? All right, this guy right here gets 30 seconds and he's out. 30, 29, 28. How's it going, Razor?
Good. How are you?
Hey, how are things holding up there in your neck of the woods? It's is it still 200? Is it still 200?
I would just like to take this moment. I'd like to take this moment and paraphrase Fred Minnick and say, "Fuck your birdie picks."
Oh, we apologize. We apologize. Yeah, it went much faster than we thought. We had no idea what was going to happen with the thing. We knew it would go pretty quick, but it was like
I had my money right here waiting.
Well, I kept getting the same thing. You sent me something, and Will Henderson sent me something like within like 30 seconds, and he's like, "Holy shit, sold out!" And then Brazer's like, "Fuck a duck, it's sold out!" Like, holy Christ! So, but it worked out. It worked out good. I know a guy. I can get you some of it anyway.
It was like delivery day. Like if you're not there right away, it was gone.
Well, I mean, what we did was, we thought it was the only fair way to do it was to release it in waves. I mean, we've limited everything to 1 per because we didn't want to get into the thing where someone was buying several bottles and it was just going to be like, not good. Like we didn't want people flipping things, and really the idea was we wanted more people to get stuff is really what we wanted, so.
Well, I think you're forgetting that there's 2 channels dealing with 1 barrel.
Yeah. Well, and we talked about it because we have to also be careful because these guys, they're like, when they come to us, they pretty much want to know like, hey, can you get rid of it and how fast can you get rid of it? And we're like, we think we can, and like, I don't know, a few days, something like that. And then we put this thing up, and then like an hour and 20 minutes later, like 165 is gone. We're like, okay, well, clearly the main ones, we're going to have to just do a second one of it. So we learned our lesson with that. So
I think maybe for your Elijah Craig pick, you could start at the bottom and move your way up.
Yeah, we could do that. Actually, I could probably talk to him about it. I think other people would probably be pissed off at it, but I don't know. I mean, that's the one thing. At the end of the day, there's somebody you're not going to make happy. That was the problem. I mean, unless you start getting so much of it that everybody can get it, we understand. Like, well, especially with the Russells, I mean, we know that we should have just probably done 2 of them, but you don't know, because if you get on the hook for these, now they want money. And now someone else got to fork over all the money, and like, who's going to be forking over the money? That's us. So, so it's a little.
That's a bad fork.
Yeah. So we were happy with it, but we've got what do we have now coming? Woodinville's coming pretty soon, and then we just got This was kind of weird because we got originally when we were down at Luxrow, we did the Ezra and the Rebel, and they were like, oh, this is probably not going to be something that's released until like maybe late fall. Then we get a text message like a couple of days ago about it's like all bottled and ready. We're like, holy fuck, we're trying to space this stuff out. We didn't want like a bunch of whiskey for everybody at one time. We were trying to space this out on purpose. And now there's like a couple of them that are coming, and it's not exactly what we wanted, but whatever, we'll deal with it, I guess. I don't know. So Brazer, what's your so the question was, what is something for you that you've enjoyed so far or been your favorite of 21 so far? Whiskey.
That Foregate pick is awfully good.
Yeah.
Not the rye, because I'm not a rye guy. Yeah.
Oh. The Kelvin. Yeah.
That 3 or batch 6 or whatever it is.
Yeah. It's a fantastic whiskey. I know Some people don't like when you call that bourbon, but whatever. I don't give a shit about that. So, all right. Let's see. Yeah, man, I'll tell you, it's just hard. I think probably going forward, we'll look at maybe doing main ones. If we get a chance to do a Russell's or, maybe like a Jack Daniel's barrel proof, something that'll be really a popular one or whatever. I mean, the Elijah Craig one, we couldn't do that. I mean, they gave us hell. We didn't even think we were going to get one. We went in there and there were two like of the shittiest whiskeys we had ever tried, and we were like looking at each other like, holy stuff. I mean, this is like skunk piss. This is not good. And then we got to the third one, and finally the third one was like really good. But then we started second guessing ourselves, like, is it really good, or is it just okay coming off of two chip barrels? So
that's right.
we pumped the brakes a little bit on it and kind of tried to do whatever we could to get that other crap out of our mind and off our palates. And then we went back to it and we're like, yeah, it's good. It ended up being a lot between like the last few releases, B521 and C921. So that was kind of nice. Or was that it? Ah, fuck, I don't remember. But anyway, we liked how it came out. But
so when you're doing picks, is it like, if in your experience, have you just gotten like 4 or 5 barrels that you get to choose from, or has it been like an experience where you get to go and like try like more than that? Or they like, I know I've heard of.
It's really kind of interesting, like how it all goes, because they all do so many things like different. Like I would say Wilderness Trail, like by far has probably been the best, because when we met with the guy there, he's like, all right, here's a couple of options. He's like, we can like sit in this room and we can like go through it and you can be like nosing it and tasting it, doing all this. Or he's like, why don't we just take like a whiskey thief and just go in the rick house. We'll pull stuff from the barrels and you guys can try it and tell me if you like it. And that's what we'll do. And we're like,
that's really cool.
Sitting in this like shitty little boring room sounds much better than going in a rick house. So, but no, that was awesome. Heaven Hill, I would say, probably wasn't very good. They just rolled you into a corner with, a couple barrels there, and you couldn't like take pictures. You couldn't record anything. It was like you were in a state prison. I mean, it was like you couldn't do.
They do you a favor.
Yeah, you couldn't do any recording, no nothing. So you were just stuffed in this like little corner of a rick house with 3 barrels. This is what you got. They weren't bringing you any more, nothing, and that's what they did. It was just very like corporate. They're like, they just walk you across the road.
Impersonal.
You're very, very impersonal.
I get the feeling if you do a Jack Daniel's barrel proof pick, you're going to need 3 or 4 barrels.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, the other thing with that is, you've got to get these companies that we're working with, basically like Seelbach and Shared Pour, all of these online liquor retailers. I mean, these guys are basically ponying up all the money and telling us to go do it, which is nice. But yeah, you've got to get them to agree to say, yeah, why don't you just buy like, whatever, $40,000 in whiskey and hope for the best, But yeah, the popular ones we'll start probably doing at least 2 of them going forward. So
that was a revelation.
What's that?
I didn't know that. That. That's a revelation.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's definitely not a cheap endeavor. I mean, for a lot of these companies, I'd say the idea is to not only, when people are buying a bottle, what they really want you to do is they want you to buy multiple stuff when they're there, not just one, of course. But I mean, don't be fooled. They're all making a pretty fair amount of money off of these things too. So there's that as well. So, when you can, I mean, the other thing that we kind of like learned is a lot of these companies, I mean, they've got like net 30, 60, 90-day periods. So there's a chance that their whiskey sold out before they'd even actually laid out any money for the barrel. So, if you do a barrel pick and you sell, they get it at their facility and you sell it in an hour and a half, I mean, they've not even had this stuff for 7 days. They don't even owe money for, another 3 weeks technically. So they're in the they're in the positive before they've even paid for anything. So it's a lot of this stuff that we've learned too that gets very interesting as to what goes on in the background, which is kind of cool. So
what I want to know is when you're breaking out the glitter wax.
Won't do that shit. We're not putting fucking fluffy balls. We're not putting wax. We're not putting glitter. We're not putting garbage and shit all over these things. If you get a fun sticker, that's all you're gonna get. We're not gonna new riff the shit out of anything. We're not putting sneakers on our bottle. We're not doing anything like that. Like that's it.
I heard if you're doing a Four Roses pick, you can't do anything now.
No, you got that right. You got that right. Even though, I mean, I think at the end of the day, like with them, like their issue is going to be like what we did with shared pour. Like we did the stickers independent of the bottle. And if you want to put it on as the consumer, that's up to you. I can't control. We can produce the sticker, but they didn't put it on and we didn't do it. We just,
Right.
So,
yeah, that's a good idea.
I put it on the bottle. Did it wrong.
What's that?
I put it on the bottle. I did it wrong. It's not straight.
Oh yeah, my wife did it too. I'm like, shit,
I can't win.
It's on right. No, but it was good. So, all right. Well, Chris, we're already an hour and 20 minutes into this bad boy. So, Steve Razor, you came in too late.
Yeah, I got to say what I needed to say.
Oh, that's good.
Fuck those birdie picks.
This guy. Well, you do the consolation prizes. You do get to do a couple Peerless. So that's a nice little consolation prize, I guess. That'll be all right if you like Peerless. But anyway, so all right. So next weekend,
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah,
I never had Peerless, so I'll be the good test case.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. All right, that'll be fun. I mean, you've got like no reference for what the profiles of them are. Then you'll totally be blind as to what it is you're tasting. So that'll be good. So, all right. So next week, this is kind of what we're gonna do. So the idea was to kind of do what we're doing next week, this week, but it didn't work out. We had one guy not be able to make it, and we were just gonna kind of do a little bit of a channel introduction, kind of. Just get a little more information, have a good time, talk about the channels, why, hows, all of that. So next weekend, we'll do straight up bourbon and the bourbon judge, and just kind of have fun. And maybe there might be one other person joining. We'll see if that ends up happening or not. But again, it's just one of those things where if we can get some exposure to some other channels and introduce other people to all of that, that's what we want to do. So. We'll do it this week. Do you guys want to tell everybody where they can find you and subscribe and do all that good stuff, and then we'll do it all over again next week?
Yeah. We're Straight Up Bourbon. Just type in Straight Up Bourbon on YouTube. It should be the first one that shows up. It's you can see the logo right there. We got Facebook. It's a Facebook group, so you have to request to join, but we'll add you. And then we have Instagram as straight_up_bourbon.com. We'd love to have you on board and really appreciate any support you can give us. It'd be great.
Thanks for having us on. We definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Yeah, next week it'll be fun to just kind of dive into the hows and the whys and all of that. It's fun to listen to. I mean, just in general, how people got into whiskey and what it was that kind of started them down the path, so to speak. So, Razor, how the hell did you get into whiskey? We got all night. Let's hear this long ass story.
I've been drinking whiskey since I was 7 years old.
Roy, what about you? How did you kind of dive into the world of whiskey?
18. My father told me, do not drink sweet stuff. So I used to drink Canadian in the 80s. And then I went to beer, and then I went to the single barrel, I think in the early 2000s. I got sick. I had to stop drinking for a while. And in 2 years, I just started up again. And that's it.
That's how it goes.
Everybody else over the last 2 years.
Well, and it's fun. I mean, look, we've got everybody from, all over the country, it's the cool part. It allows us to all have something in common, and mean, whiskey in general, I mean, kind of promotes all of this conversation and, you know, good people and having a good time. And that's what it's all about. I mean, I didn't realize that that's ultimately what it was going to be. But for me, I mean, honestly, it's what keeps me kind of going, and all of that is the fun part of it, and being able to meet new people and talk about different things and just experiences in general. So that's the fun part for me. So, but
I love hearing all the different angles people have with different stuff, how we all taste it differently.
Yeah.
You know, the same,
everyone's got
the same bottle.
Yeah, everyone's got a different story. There's a different, everyone's got a different story about something, and the hows and the whys. I mean, it's the best part of it. So, and maybe while, as I see Brazier puffing on a nice stick, we'll probably do something coming down the road here where we'll get Brazier on and do another like little whiskey and a cigar thing and just kind of shoot the shit. There you go.
Roy, that Cuban I sent you.
Roy can come on to. Yeah, I haven't even smoked it. I'm waiting. I've got 2 of them, but I'm gonna wait to have you on, and I'll light it up then. So.
Yeah, I'm in the house. I can't smoke. So.
No, I tried once and I got in a lot of trouble. It didn't work out very well. But, all right, maybe I'll give it a couple more minutes. If anybody wants to get in on the little super chat thing, you can win a sample.
I'm going to hop out because it's 115 degrees outside and I need to go take a cold shower.
I don't blame you. No, it was good. It was good chatting with you for a little while, bud.
You too. Good night, guys.
See you, Brazier. So, all right, we'll wait a couple. We'll do a couple minutes here, and then I'll see if we'll run a little randomizer. And I'll tell. We've only got 4 people in right now. If somebody else wants to get in on a sample, then you can do that. And then I'll ask. Let's see here. Let me do this.
So Scott, I want to thank you for letting me be back on again this week.
Yeah, man, it's a fun thing. I mean, I like to open these things up and just kind of have loose conversation and fun stuff. I mean, just kind of like you're hanging out with your buddies and having a good time, and you never know ultimately what it is that's gonna come up. I mean, the formal things are fun to do with distillers and, you know, other things that are planned, but a lot of times these fun kind of like just impromptu things are fun to have a good conversation. So.
All right. A quick plug.
Yeah, go ahead.
My son is a guitar player. 408 is his YouTube channel. Self-taught guitarist. He's a savant. So if everybody could sign up.
Well, say it again. Say it again. It cut out before. What is it?
All one word. Rocky 408.
All right. We'll have to check that out. Go and check that. You said he's a guitar player?
Yeah, he just wanted to, you know, both my kids, I don't know if people know my whole story. My daughter is very effective, and my son is on the spectrum, but he's got a gift for music, and he can play anything. If he listens to it, he can figure it out. And he has his own YouTube station channel. It's incredible. He's just fun to watch. I love watching him play. He's got these, you know, he's got these long rock star fingers, and he can play guitar like anybody. It's just incredible to watch. So if everybody could just give him a like, it'd be appreciated.
Yeah, I wonder if somebody can find. I don't know if anybody can find it real quick and put a link or whatever to it. But no, it's. I mean, hey, to watch somebody be able to do those kind of things like that. I mean, that's pretty incredible. So I liked when your dog popped on last week, and that was pretty adorable. That was pretty awesome. That was awesome.
It's usually not that nice. It's usually horrible.
Oh, really? So it's usually okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
It's Roy R. does things because I was building him guitars. I built for him, and he quickly just outpaced what I built for him. And he needs better guitar. You know, I couldn't build the quality that he needed. So Roy R. does things just became a name.
Now Roy R. just drinks.
Yes, Roy R. does whiskey. I was
That's
going to change the Roy R. by the pool, but
That's good too. Well, thanks everybody for all the super chats. All right, so I know Amy was going to do the. She was keeping track of everything, so I appreciate it. So I think what we'll do is we'll have Amy run a little randomizer, or I can. Let's see. We can try to. Yeah, Amy. That's fine, Amy. Why don't you go ahead and do it? You can tell me how many people there were, and then just do a randomizer and let us know who it was that won the samples for tonight. So I think we're good. We'll close it. We'll close it now. So Amy, if you want to do that, I would appreciate it. David, so Scott, how did the last pick go? My buddy said it was sold out. Yeah. So when we got to we got through I think my only top 2 tiers, and I think Jason was the same way. We never even got more than halfway through, and we did. We felt bad that other people weren't able to get all these things, but we've kind of learned our lesson a little bit. So, next time we do anything that's kind of more of a mainstream type of pick, we'll more than likely do at least 2 barrels just to kind of cover and allow people more of an opportunity to get a bottle. I mean, ultimately, that's what we wanted. We want more people to get things, and we realize with the amount of, patrons and bottles that are available, the math doesn't work out very well. So, but anyway, so, all right, Amy, do you want to run? So 1 through 17. I guess Amy, do you want to run a randomizer, or I can do it? I'll do it and see. Let's do this here. Hey, Google. Give me a number between 1 and 17. So it popped up as number 3. Amy, who is number 3? Let's see who the lucky winner is. The suspense.
Dusty
Dan. All right, Dusty, you got some stuff coming your way, buddy. You got some stuff coming your way. We appreciate it. All right, guys, everybody, thanks for joining tonight. I appreciate it. Next week, you heard what we're going to be doing, so we'll come back and next week we'll have a good time and talk to more channels and just kind of get a little bit more involved. So I appreciate everybody joining tonight. Everyone in the chat, everyone who did the super chat, greatly appreciate all the support. And I guess I'll say real quick, anybody who is part of the Mash and Journey Whiskey Club, thanks for all the support. If you're not and you want to get involved, just check out the Patreon link. That'll get you in. That'll get you into the club, and then we kind of work on the different tiers and stuff from there. And we're trying to do a bunch of fun things. So stay tuned, and we'll see everybody next week. Cheers, guys.
Cheers. See ya. Thanks for having us. See you.